Getting Empress down the backstretch.
Hoping to sit that catbird seat potentially. Venetian Harbor, she is up there at 17-1. For the folks that have been watching us on Twitter today, we are going to have to turn you loose in about 1 minute's time. But if you want to watch all of this racing, you do have the opportunity to do so through the TVG app. So please download the Watch TVG app. That's how you can keep up with us with all of this Breeders' Cup coverage. Also, NBC, our partners over there in terms of broadcasting, you can join the NBC broadcasts for each and every Breeders' Cup race and at TVG as well. So we are all still going to be here covering this racing. We will turn you loose on Twitter, but you have many opportunities to continue to watch and to wager on this Breeders' Cup Saturday program. For everyone else, we will of course continue on for those on track. 3 minutes now to get your bets in for the filly and mare sprint. Just sort of scanning through to see if we have missed anybody. Gabby, let's talk a little more about Sally's Curlin. We heard from Dale Romans. He was talking about the pace in here. Realistically, how far back is she going to be in the early stages off these pace setters?
She probably will be last early, Christina. She just doesn't have any early speed, whether it be going a distance of ground or whether it be going the 1 turn 7 furlongs distance as well. So, you know, I do like her. I respect her, but she really does need that pace to come back to her today. And as you said, good horses, good speed horses, they often don't come back. So I think Sally's Curlin is up against it. Now, if you think that the pace scenario will fall apart, if you think Gamine is going to go to the inside, she's going to hook up with Serengeti Empress, and Venetian Harbor is going to be part of the pace, I think the likeliest closer is Bell's the One. I actually like her chances over Sally's Curlin. They both come out of the Grade 1 Derby City DeSaf, and I was more impressed by Bell's the One. So we will see what happens. I'm very curious to see what Gamine does with the inside draw.
A reminder, as far as the wagering goes, you can begin a pick 4 here. All Breeders' Cup pick 4. That pool sitting at $1.1 million and counting. We're looking at Speech on track right now. Acacia, what are your impressions of the daughter of Mr. Speaker?
Well, she was on her toes, and that's an understatement in the paddock, Christina. She's been really revved up pretty much the whole time. And watching her warm up on track here, Javier Castellano's done everything he needs to do in order to keep her calmed down a little bit. When you do have a horse turning back in distance, you want them to be a little bit more revved up, a little bit more on their toes, so that is a positive. But she does have the inside post and almost just kind of bubbling over, and it is a lot warmer here today than we have previously been experiencing, and she's just kind of gotten herself worked up a little bit. So seeing Javier Castellano take those motions out on the track to calm her down, keep her settled, as especially with the inside post, she'll need to break running, but against the likes of Gamine and Serengeti Empress, not expend too much energy prior to the race. So I was happy to see her settle a bit more there on track, but she has been very much on edge this afternoon.
Acacia, thank you. Yeah, minding her manners now as they get closer to post. So this is definitely what you want to see from Speech. Scott, I think the rail draw is just really going to be a challenge for her today. She's already going to be behind the 8 ball in terms of her tactical speed and where she'll end up. This is automatically going to trap her in behind those horses.
And, you know, this is a nice filly. There's no question about it. She's a Grade 1 winner. She's a Grade 1 winner here at Keeneland Racecourse taking the Ashland, but she won that Grade 1 running down Venetian Harbor, who displayed that route races are probably not exactly going to be her best game. Here's Sconson, another filly that's going to come on late in that 8 bells, 4 graces, was part of that early pace. Now, the one thing about her, Gabby, is the fact that we saw 4 graces not come back herself at all here recently at Keeneland Racecourse. So do we discount Sconson based on that performance of 4 graces at this recent fall meet?
Unfortunately, Scott, I would have to say yes to that question. You look at Sconson and her most recent event with 4 graces coming back in poor form. Even 2 starts back in the Audubon Oaks at Ellis Park, Monday Call. She ran in that race. She came back and with a poor effort over Preakness weekend at Pimlico. And you even see in the running lines, Miss T2. If Miss T2 had run a little bit better earlier today, maybe my opinion would have changed a bit on this long shot. But some of the horses that she's been facing have just not gone on to run well, so I would have to downgrade her.
Gabby, ultimately, who's your top selection for the filly and mare sprint?
I'm going with Bell's the One. I really do think it's going to be a contentious pace, but not only that, Christina, I do think that she is a legitimate horse. She is a horse that continues to improve, continues to mature. She is that improving 4-year-old filly that I just like. But of the speed horses, Serengeti Empress, for me, I might be crazy here, Christina, but I am a little bit against Gamine here. I think this is the toughest test that she's faced to date.
Scott, top selection for you?
Gamine, she's a runaway freight train. She's just going to keep on going and build up steam as this 7-furlong run goes on. They are going to hook up. It's going to be Serengeti Empress and Gamine at some point in this race, and I think you're going to see Gamine with that cutback in distance and have that edge just over Serengeti Empress as she makes her final start. I think that this race is won out on the front end for a second consecutive year in the filly and mare sprint.
I've had the opportunity to watch her train in the mornings back at Santa Anita, and she's looked better than she ever has these days. The horses get a lot of their power from their hind end, from their hindquarters. Her engine, I mean, she is as muscled out as possible. She is fit and ready to fire this afternoon. The daughter of Into Mischief, 3 for 5 lifetime. Let's see if she adds a Breeders' Cup victory to her resume today. They've reached the gate for the first of 9 championship races over the fast main track here at Keeneland in Lexington, Kentucky. That pick 4 pool still climbing as well. If you're getting your bets in on the TVG app, the FanDuel app, $1.5 million and all Breeders' Cup pick 4 to bet into, and a very challenging second leg in that turf sprint. You'll need some coverage there if you are placing your wagers with these last few minutes. Speech will head in at 7-1. She's held at that price. Plenty of support for her at the windows, on the cutback, on the turn back in distance. Javier Castellano to try and carve out a good trip for her. But this is a showdown in this division that we have been waiting for all year. Gamine and Serengeti Empress, both with that early tactical speed. They should hook up in the early stages of this race. And for Joel Politi, Tom Amos, the entire connections of Serengeti Empress, a Kentucky Oaks winner, this her final race before she heads off to retirement. So lots to look forward to as the last few step into line. Good luck here in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint. Let's go to Kurt Becker for the live call.
Last one moves into line. They are at the post. And they're off in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint. Serengeti Empress and Gamine. These two have early speed as expected, right to the front, side by side, as they join up onto the backstretch on the main track now. And it is Serengeti Empress from the outside who has the lead by just over a length, opens up by a length and a half by 2. Gamine backs away second, Speech third, Venetian Harbor is in fourth. Gap of 3 more lengths, Come Dancing is in fifth. 6 more back of her to Sconson, who's in the 6th position. Bell's the one 7th. Sally's Curlin, 8th and last, 21.77 seconds, the time for the opening quarter. Serengeti Empress leads at 3/4 of a length onto the far turn, and Gamine goes second by a length. Then Speech, who's third by just a head, down to the inside of Venetian Harbor. That one now moves up, takes third by a neck. Come Dancing is 5th, still 6 lengths off the lead. Serengeti Empress in front, 3/4 of a length. Gamine second by 2. Speech is third to the inside. Venetian Harbor backs up to 4th. Come Dancing is in 5th. Bell's the one, still has a lot of work to do. 10 lengths off the lead. Serengeti Empress chased by Gamine, and here's Gamine striding forward on the outside of Serengeti Empress. Sconson goes third down toward the rail and is still 5 from the front. Gamine in the final furlong, now at the 16th pole. Gamine, John Velasquez rolling on home to win the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint. All Gamine. Be a multiple horse photo for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The final time, 1 minute, 20.2 seconds. Track record.
Smashing records today in a runaway freight train indeed. Gamine, untouchable in the filly and mare sprint.
She was good away from the gate, and Serengeti Empress, as we talked about, was just a touch quicker. But Johnny didn't panic. He kept her in the race, and then once he got her to the outside of Serengeti Empress, that was the biggest difference maker. He didn't get himself trapped down to the inside when you had other fast horses coming to the outside of her. It was a brilliant ride from one of the greatest jockeys of all time, and this is what we talked about. out. She just continues to pick up that momentum and sprints away from this group. This is a fantastic filly. Job well done to Bob Baffert, Michael Lund Peterson, the daughter of Into Mischief. She has crowned herself as the top female sprinter in 2020 following this performance.
Open length victory for Gamine today. We're going to have to wait for them to examine the results, so that photo, to see who ends up second, third, and fourth in here. Serengeti Empress did what we expected her to do, and it was to make the lead at all costs. Went for it, wanted to establish that early tactical position. Unfortunately, hadn't lined up against a horse like this before she faded in the final furlong.
And it's the difference, too, with having a horse that's this good late that can be as quick early with Gamine, right? With that stamina that she displayed and the ability to not to allow her to get comfortable on the front end. That was the difference maker. And Serengeti Empress does hold on for second, narrowly over Bell's the One, who checks in third.
2-7-9-5-3 across the board. Gamine, your winner at even money at post time. Serengeti Empress second, and also as the second choice in the wagering, 3-1. Bell's the One would follow. She would rally from off the pace, 6-1, checking in third, followed by Sconson at a big 28-1. And Come Dancing rounds out the super high five today, 11-1. Isolated look there at Gamine. Johnny Velasquez, as you mentioned, the Hall of Famer, he never panicked. He was able to adapt to that pace scenario. And Scott, she broke so fast, she almost went flat-footed for a second. It was as if that propulsion kind of sent her too quickly away from the starting gate.
And it kind of threw Johnny forward a little bit in the saddle, where he had to just gather himself and get back into that saddle and back into that rhythm. And look at those internal fractions, too, for this Keeneland graduate, rather. 21-3, 44-1. 3/4 in 107-4. Not that much slower than what we saw from Nashville in that first race when he was geared down. I mean, this is what the Breeders' Cup does. It brings the best horses together. You have to lay it down and put together your best performance in order to come away and crown yourself a champion. And boy, did Gamine do that today, as she picks up her third Grade 1 victory at the age of 3.
It's a couple winners already on the day for Into Mischief. I mean, how good is Into Mischief? We just keep seeing his name in these lines each and every race here.
Well, so good. I believe Joe Politti said that that's where Serengeti Empress is going to be going over at Spendthrift Farm for a date with Into Mischief.
She does have a date indeed, and she loses nothing in defeat today. You think about that heroic second place effort from her once more. We wish Serengeti Empress all the best in her retirement. Gabby, how about a reaction to Gamine and this stellar performance today?
It was a stellar performance. There is no doubt about that, Christina. And this was a patient, confident, Hall of Fame type ride by jockey Johnny Velasquez. The race was won in the early stages of the race, as Scott pointed out. She broke sharply. She was down on the inside. And instead of engaging Serengeti Empress on the rail, Johnny Velasquez had confidence in his horse to take her back a little bit, angle her out, and then, have control over the race once he put her in that position. She was just much the best today. Congratulations to the connection. She was on it, and I'm very much looking forward to a season that we potentially will see from her next year. Serengeti Empress, ran her race, and I was actually impressed by Bell's the One. We mentioned it'd be hard to close, but she was the most impressive closer.
It's a testament not only to her class, to her ability, Gamine, but also to her mental fortitude as well, to rate, to relax, to listen to those cues. She was sent early. She came back to Johnny. She angled to the outside, turned it on again late. I mean, she really is a true professional, and you match that up with her raw ability. Unstoppable, and you are looking at a champion. Gamine, your winner of the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint.
In the winner's circle for the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, number 2, Gamine. Owned by Michael Lund Peterson, back-to-back wins for trainer Bob Baffert on the card. The winning jockey, John Velasquez. Gamine, a 3-year-old filly by Into Mischief out of Peggy Jane by Calf Wayne. Bred in Kentucky by Grace Thoroughbred Holdings, LLC. 7 furlongs over the main track in 1 minute 20.2 seconds. Track record.
What a way to kick off Breeders' Cup Saturday. A track record performance by Gamine in the Filly and Mare Sprint. To the winning connections of the talented filly, we have Linda Gorton, the mayor of the city of Lexington.
Well, congratulations on behalf of the city of Lexington. We're so proud of you, and just congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Michael Lund, please pick up that trophy. It is all yours. I love to see that you're here with your wife, Charlene, and your family. You've been owning horses for about 6 years now, but the love for the sport began a long time ago. What does it mean to win on America's biggest stage?
I'm so sorry. I barely could hear what you said. There's an echo. I'm sorry.
How do you feel? What does it mean to win on America's biggest stage?
I guess me and my family, we're just so grateful having Bob, his entire team, Donato, just being part of a great team and an experience like this. Actually, you can hear how emotional.
You had told me a while back that this horse was special, and Bob had called her a superstar, but you didn't want to get ahead of yourself. You tell me you get nervous as well. How were you today?
I don't want to sound too cocky, but today, for some reason, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't nervous as I usually am. I just had a good feeling. And, you know, when I heard Bob tell Johnny in the barn that he gave her a horse that he had when we ran in New York, it really made me feel confident, because obviously she's an amazing freaking horse.
How special is it to share this with your family here?
It's the best thing in the world.
It's hitting you right here. Can you talk a little bit about what you're feeling right now?
I'm just so happy. And I guess when you get this happy, you get emotional too. It's a great experience, and I'm very grateful for it.
A big congratulations to you. Congratulations to the entire team here with a superstar filly for Bob Baffert, John Velasquez, and Michael Lund Peterson. Gamine in the Filly and Mare Sprint.
And the are off in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Serengeti Empress and Gamine. These two have early speed as expected, right to the front, side by side, as they join up onto the backstretch on the main track now. And it is Serengeti Empress from the outside who has the lead by just over a length, opens up by a length and a half by 2. Gamine backs away second, Speech third, Venetian Harbor is in fourth. Gap of 3 more lengths, Come Dancing is in fifth. 6 more back of her to Sconson, who's in the 6th position. Bell's the one 7th. Sally's Curlin, 8th and last, 21.77 seconds, the time for the opening quarter. Serengeti Empress leads it 3/4 of a length onto the far turn, and Gamine goes second by a length. Then Speech, who's third by just a head, down to the inside of Venetian Harbor. That one now moves up, takes third by a neck. Come Dancing is 5th, still 6 lengths off the lead. Serengeti Empress in front, 3/4 of a length. Gamine second by 2. Speech is third to the inside. Venetian Harbor backs up to 4th. Come Dancing is in 5th. Bell's the one, still has a lot of work to do. 10 lengths off the lead. Serengeti Empress chased by Gamine, and here's Gamine striding forward on the outside of Serengeti Empress. Sconson goes third down toward the rail and is still 5 from the front. Gamine in the final furlong, now at the 16th pole. Gamine, John Velasquez rolling on home to win the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. All Gamine. Be a multiple horse photo for second, third, and fourth. The final time, 1 minute, 20.2 seconds. Track record.
Smashing records today in a runaway freight train indeed. Gamine, untouchable in the Filly and Mare Sprint.
Hey, neighbor, we got to talk.
Well, Jay? No, he only comes to Bugle on race days.
Race days?
With the TVG app, every day is race day. You can place bets right in your phone, even stream live races.
Upcoming race at the Breeders' Cup.
I can have a day at the track whenever I want, right at home.
Coming through, guys.
Go get him, Mike.
Mike Smith?
Yeah, Mike Smith.
There's a new home of horse racing. Yours. Get a 50% bonus on your first deposit up to $250.
Breeders know that English Channel offers unparalleled value in its class. With 9 crops of racing age, English Channel has sired 6 champions, 5 millionaires, and 23 graded stakes winners. A perennial leader among turf stallions, English Channel has also sired 9 individual Grade 1 winners on both the turf and dirt. English Channel, the best value at stud.
Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new mobile pass performances. Access the most trusted information in horse racing, including exclusive buyer speed figures and DRF analysis and selections. Experience the new mobile optimized DRF pass performances on your phone from anywhere at any time. Go to drf.com/now. Use coupon code NOW to get a free single card and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand.
Constitution is best up-and-coming sire.
He's beautiful, he's well-balanced.
He's throwing classic-type horses and horses that can go on to be stallions.
This horse has a chance to be very important.
There's really nothing not to be excited about. He's done everything right so far.
He's going to have a big career as a sire, even much better than he did it as a racehorse.
Whether it be long, short, grass, dirt, they can do it all.
He's over-delivered as much as any horse that I've seen.
He's really a dream of a stallion.
With Keeneland's president-elect Shannon Arvin to discuss what is just a day beyond this year's Breeders' Cup World Championships here at Keeneland. That's the Keeneland November Sale. Shannon, what are some of the exciting aspects that we should be looking forward to at the Keeneland November Sale?
You know, the sales are the engine that drives our machine, that allows us to do all that this institution does for this for this industry. So they are the largest breeding stock sales in the world, and we always love when they fall right after the Breeders' Cup World Championships. The timing is phenomenal, and it lets people just continue the exciting atmosphere that we're starting this weekend.
And there's always connections to these World Championships. What are some of the connections that we'll have from the Breeders' Cup transitioning over to the Keeneland November sale?
So we have 76 of our sales grads that have been competing yesterday and today, and that's always fun to see when they are sold at the pavilion and then find their way right onto our racetrack next door. Those are great connections. And we have the dam of Jackie's Warrior Unicorn Girl who's selling. We have the dam of Swiss Skydiver Expo Gold who's selling, as well as Horologist and Ollie's Candy. So we're all really excited to see how they do these days and to watch them at the sales pavilion just next door.
Keeneland adapted so well for the September sale, given the pandemic, the COVID-19 restrictions. What can people that are coming out here, buyers, sellers, expect to encounter at Keeneland November?
You know, the health and safety of our people, our employees, our patrons, this industry is what we think about first and foremost every day throughout this whole year when we've had really difficult challenges. But we've worked really hard to rise to those challenges and make this a safe environment. We enforce masking, social distancing, and we did that in September very well. We did that at our October race meet during the Breeders' Cup World Championships, and those protocols will continue during the November sale.
Shannon, we look forward to it. I know the buyers, the sellers look forward to it, Keeneland November, and good luck to you and the team coming up on Monday.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget, you can catch the sale at Keeneland.com. You can also catch the first 3 days of coverage on TVG2 and also on the Watch TVG app. We'll have the entire Keeneland November sale available on that Watch TVG app.
The Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint will be run over a distance of 5.5 furlongs and is often a showcase for raw speed. That was the case last year with Belvoir Bay, who seized command shortly after the start despite an outside post. Here at Keeneland in 2015, Mongolian Saturday scored an upset win that set off quite an international celebration. And Stormy Liberal won back-to-back editions of the Turf Sprint when he got up at the wire in 2018. This is the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
A lot of predictable results thus far. Just identifying who might be the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint could be a difficult task. Welcome back to the Breeders' Cup Player Show. I'm Todd Trupp on site here just off the winner's circle at Keeneland. Joining me, Caton Bradar, and from his home in Southern California, Simon Bray. Simon, let me start with you because Europe has taken a couple of shots in here. What do you expect from the European-based runners in the upcoming Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint?
I think it's a tough road ahead for them in here. This is a loaded race. There's going to be a lot of traffic. It's a handicapping scramble, and I just think the Europeans are up against it. I think they're always up against it, period, in these sprint races. But I think particularly so this year. I think this is a deep quality group that's evenly matched. And like you said, when you're looking up on the board and you see the favorite at 5-1, it's kind of indicative of how hard and how tough this race is to handicap. So I think the Europeans are up against it. I think domestically, Todd, from my perspective, I think Got Stormy could be the key, the answer to this. Remember, we saw her last year running so well in defeat in the Breeders' Cup Mile, but she's been a revelation as she's got older here with the cut back in distance, with the return to one turn. I think that's really helped her running style. She's a filly that likes to lay close to the pace, gets a little aggressive in those two-turn races, but as she's got older, coming back to sprint distances gives her the chance to relax, and by relaxing early, she really finishes late. She's been very impressive to me in the last two starts, Caton.
Simon, I agree with you. I think she's coming into this race beautifully. I just wonder about the level of competition she's been beating in her most recent starts as opposed to some of the other contenders. The pace is going to come into play as much in this race as it has in the dirt races. With the speed focused to the inside, you've got two horses who are very fast in Big Runner and Just Might. Just Might put in a workout on the main track, the dirt at Churchill Downs, for his last pre-Breeders' Cup tune-up, and it was very, very sharp. So expect Just Might to hit the blocks running and maybe set the tone for the rest of the race. horses that can maybe sit forwardly but not too far behind them. Horses like Imprimis and Todd, a horse for course, and Leinster. Those are the horses that I think could be the most dangerous.
Speaking to how wide open this race is, looking at that tote board, there are 4 horses at 5-1. Now let's get some insight now with Joaquin Jaime.
Here with trainer Joe Racino, who has Imprimis coming up next year in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Joe, 6 starts last year, only 2 starts this year. Why the light campaign so far?
Well, after the Breeders' Cup, we decided to reevaluate him, bring him back to Gulfstream, and we found out that he had a little breathing issue. So we decided to fix him, and it just took a little extra time, more than we thought. But since the operation, he's doing very well, and he's going forward every race. So hopefully he peaks here.
Going back to his last race at Kentucky Downs, 6 furlongs, real boggy ground. Do you feel that maybe he got some extra fitness out of that race just because of the conditions?
Most definitely. I thought he was fitter off of the race from Saratoga, but after the Kentucky Downs race, he was blowing quite a bit, and I know he got a lot out of it. That extra half a furlong helped him a lot. And the surface, it was a tiring surface, and he got a lot out of it.
Good luck in here today.
Always need that.
I'm joined here by trainer Kevin Ryan, who has a number 6 Glass Slipper. Kevin, she's such a hardy mare, close second in the Prix de la Baie last time out. But aside from being tough, she's also very versatile in terms of her running style. Where would you like to see her place?
Yeah, look, we'll jump to go forward, but I think there'll be a lot of pace in this race. As you say, she's very easy to ride. She can come up from off the pace, or we can ride her handy. Just leave it to Tom. He knows her very well, and she's very simple filly to ride.
You mentioned Tom knows her very well. What about his riding style suits her so well?
Look, he knows the filly very well. He rides her work all the time at home, and I have no worries there, and just let him ride his own race.
Wish you the best of luck, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Glass Slipper's sitting up on the board right now at 8-1. As far as horses that have taken some play from the morning line, rather significantly, Simon the 8, Alexandra, has been back down from 12-1 to currently the favorite's role at 9-2.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think she's going to get the right setup. The pace is going to be swift. You heard it there from Kevin Ryan, the European trainer. I think, and a lot of people look at her running style and the rider she's got. She's going to come rolling from off the pace.
Here is our post parade for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, starting with the 1 Big Renewer. Here's the 2 Just Might up on the board as the longest shot in the field at 51-1, and a horse we just heard about, Caden Imprimis.
Imprimis has won over the Keeneland surface, very effective at this 5.5 furlong sprint distance, and looking for his 3rd consecutive win. And there's Front Run the Fad, who makes his 2nd start. Following a little freshening, he handled a soft course very well in the turf sprint at Kentucky Downs. We'll see how he hands a little firmer ground. Wet Your Whistle went by, and there's Glass Slipper, first-time Lasix for the European filly, who is coming off a really tough beat on heavy ground. To me, she's another that seems to be versatile enough to handle the pace situation that may or may not develop here. Leinster going by 3 for 4 at Keeneland. Alexandra, we mentioned, one of 4 mares or fillies in this field, and the other, the 9, Into Mystic, second beaten just a nose by Got Stormy. Bombard, the 10 horse, was second beaten a neck behind Imprimis for Dick Mandela. I'm not sure whether he's going to show a little bit of speed in here as well, as might Wildman Jack. He's versatile, but I suspect may be quicker than he was last time out in the Eddie D. Got Stormy, the 5-year-old mare, 10 for 25 lifetime, looking for her 3rd consecutive win off that victory in the Buffalo Trace here at Keeneland in October. There's Got Wedge, and there is the 13 Texas Wedge, who adds the blinkers. She was 4th in the turf sprint in a race that was after a long layoff and on yielding ground. Expect Texas Wedge to improve off the effort and perhaps sit a little bit closer with the change of equipment. On the outside, Extravagant Kid will bounce to his stride as well, following 2 tough beats in the turf sprint and most recently the Woodford here at Keeneland. Todd?
Just getting to the Breeders' Cup is an accomplishment for all the connections, and 3 Chimneys would like to have our cheers to the breeder at this moment. Some of the breeders in here, Imprimis, whom we were talking about, Craig Wheeler, the breeder, and a horse that was bred in the Sunshine State of Florida, son of Broken Vow. Also, Nancy Shuford, represented with Texas Wedge in here, bred in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. That is our cheers to the breeder for the upcoming Breeders' Cup Sprint. Let's get an angle on this race with Scott Hazelton.
Todd, trainer Rusty Arnold is 5 for 10, 50% with a $4.46 ROI over the past 4 years, with older last out winners racing on turf in the second start following a 61-day layoff, not 60. Leinster utilized that move to win the Shakertown at Keeneland over the summer and will try to repeat the pattern in the turf sprint and make sure that you take advantage of the most powerful past performances in horse racing available at drf.com.
Simon, add that to your toolbox. Second start, older horse off the layoff on the turf here at Keeneland, 61 days or more. Let me ask you about the turf course, because on the main track, every time we come out here, it seems like we're in the possibility of setting a track record. But I look out at the turf course, it's listed as good still. This was a turf course that we were told early in the week would be firm. What kind of turf course is it with what you've seen so far, Simon?
Well, there's still definitely some moisture in the turf course. There's still some cut in the ground. I'm glad they labeled it as good. It's clearly not firm. We saw that yesterday with the race, the way the races were being run and where the turf was, kicking out somewhat. So I don't think it's an excuse. I think it's just perfect racing ground. For the Europeans, I think, they'll appreciate that. Some of these American horses, they like to hear their feet rattle, maybe not so much. But I don't think we're in the realm of where it's so soft that it's going to adversely affect performances. So while it's not fast and firm, it's still perfect racing ground.
4 minutes away from the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Naomi?
I just wanted to quickly chime in about Alexandra. I've seen her train throughout the week, and she basically takes her exercise rider for a ride. She tucks her head in and just so much power. Got the chance to catch up with Neil Drysdale before and asking him how she's been doing. So she's been doing great, and wondering if he was, had any worries about the 140-day layoff she's coming off of. And he said, well, I will tell you afterwards. Now, I actually think she's going to be just fine, because 2 starts back, she ran a 101 Bayer, basically after 227 days off, making me think that this is a mare that runs incredibly well fresh. Now, she does get gut-wrenchingly far back, but last time out, she ranged up strongly before home, so she makes her move quite sort of gradually and then turn on the propellers late for the last 2 furlongs. I find her very intriguing here. I absolutely love what I've seen throughout the week.
Naomi, thank you. There's a good look at Alexandra. And to that point, Simon, Alexandra with trainer Neil Drysdale, who's enjoyed a lot of success over the years here at the Breeders' Cup. This is his MO, to be with these horses, give them freshenings and have them peak off those layoffs.
Yeah, I mean, she's been beautifully campaigned, I think, and this race was probably by design. I would never be worried about the layoff from dating all the way back to June. She's got the right running style. She's proven over this turf course as well, and she's performed well over good ground way back in her past performances at Southern California last year. So she's got all the credentials. The key with her, Todd, is she's going to have to navigate traffic with this full field here of 14. With her running style, there's clearly going to be some traffic. She's either going to have to come wide or hope for a couple of splits along the way.
Caden, with a sizable field, you're always going to have some challenges on the lead, but conversely, you may actually get not as fast of a pace in the early stages. I look at the one Big Reneur on the rail. I've watched this horse in California, very, very fast. Juan Hernandez, if you don't know him, you will after this race. He's fantastic out of the starting gate. I look at this race and I actually don't see a blistering pace. 4 horses out there going a sub-opening quarter mile in 21 seconds. What do you see?
I see perhaps 3 horses going fast early. The one, Big Reneur, the 2, Just Might, is going to put pressure. He's pretty one-dimensional. That is his game. And off that sharp work at Churchill, I feel like he is going to be very powerful early. And then the 10, Bombard, is sort of the wild card for me. With his outside positioning of the rest of the speed, Flavian Pratt has a few options. It was a tough beat last time at Kentucky Downs, but on ground that was very different than he's going to encounter here today. It was a very, very soft turf course. He kind of had things his own way on the front end, but he was entitled to get a little bit weary later. It's also going to be a little bit shorter distance and less testing in terms of the going than it was at Kentucky Downs that day. But he doesn't have to be on the lead, and that's what I think makes the 10 pretty interesting. But to your point, the 12 Got Stormy is a horse that I think is going to have to get very, very lucky to get the racing room she needs at the end. She has the ability and she has a powerful late kick, but that kick is only effective if she has the room to apply it. And Tyler Gaffalione is going to have his work cut out for him in the final stages of this race to be able to get the type of free running room that he had in the Buffalo Trace. I feel like Imprimis, who can sit a little bit closer, and for sure the 7 Leinster are the two horses that position-wise have a real advantage. They don't have to be on the lead, but they're quick enough early that they don't have to come from that far off of it. I was a little surprised to see Imprimis, who I have heard called by a different pronunciation of his name every time I've seen him run, I think, a little bit more revved up than has been the case in the past. When he raced at Kentucky Downs, I was really surprised at how composed he was, because a lot of horses come a little unglued in different surroundings, but he was a bit more laid back than he is today. I don't know if that's a good sign or not, but I do know I think he's coming into this race in even better condition than he was in the past. I'm still going to go, though, with the 7 Leinster as my top pick.
And Leinster will move into line as the slight favorite here at 4-1 for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Another championship moment on hand on this Breeders' Cup Saturday. Simon, who wins?
I'm going to go with Got Stormy, Todd. I think I just, as I've said all week, I like at the older age she is now, she's found a new style here sprinting, and I think she gets a good trip.
Field loading quickly here, just 5.5 furlongs to the finish line over a good turf course here at Keeneland. Checking the odds one more time for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. The 7 Leinster at 4-1, a slight favorite. Second choice, at least for now, the 3 Imprimis at 9-2, and then a couple of horses here at 5-1. The 8 Alexandra, well back down from 12-1 of the morning line, and the morning line favorite, Got Stormy, the 12, is an overlay from that morning line of 7-2 to 5-1. Let's go up to track announcer Kurt Becker. Ready to go, the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
Last one goes in. They're at the post. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. There's Bombard in between horses into Mystic, now a step quicker. Leinster moves up in the opening strides. Wildman Jack on the outside. Into Mystic to the lead down toward the inside. Wildman Jack second, Texas Wedge third. Leinster against the rail is fourth. Bombard fifth. Got Stormy is in sixth. Just Might seventh. Imprimis eighth down toward the inside. Extravagant Kid a wide ninth. Glass Slippers 10th. Front Run the Fed 11th. Alexandra 12th up on the outside. Big Runner 13th. And Wet Your Whistle last of the 14 into the far turn. Into Mystic. Leading Wildman Jack, Texas Wedge stacks up to the far outside in third. A length and a half separate the top three. They've opened up by 4 lengths back to Leinster, who is fourth down toward the inside. Got Stormy fifth on the outside. Off the far turn. Wildman Jack ahead in front. Texas Wedge on the outside. Into Mystic is there. Down toward the inside. Glass Slippers is running late toward the rail in fourth and looking for running room. Leinster then Got Stormy. Glass Slippers is coming through. Got Stormy on the outside. Late run from Extravagant Kid. Glass Slippers and Leinster 1-2 down to the line. Glass Slippers in front. Late charge for Wet Your Whistle. It is Glass Slippers to win the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint for Tom Eaves with a brilliant ride.
Cinderella has arrived for Europe. Glass Slippers getting Europe a win here in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. And it was, as called by Kurt Becker, Simon, a phenomenal ride by Tom Eaves.
Yeah, congratulations. I thought the Europeans were up against it in here, but this is a phenomenal performance here. Great ride by Tom Eaves. There's all kinds of traffic in behind. I think Imprimis gets steadied hard here mid-stretch. You have to watch it late, but Tom Eaves, he just comes off the rail there, and he gets the split, the perfect split. That's what we're talking about. You can see here, right in behind, I think it's Imprimis that has to steady out of there, and horses getting checked out. But he got that split down on the inside, and Glass Slipper here. Absolutely devastating late kick here. Gets the job done. Nice late rush from Wet Your Whistle as well under Jose Ortiz to finish second.
Yeah, Wet Your Whistle walked out of the starting gate, made up a lot of ground late at 26-1. Caton, why run 2 from Europe when 1 will do?
Boy, that versatility that the trainer spoke of, Kevin Ryan spoke of early on, really served Glass Slippers well as far as this performance was concerned. She was able to sit back and not only find the racing room that she needed, but adjust to a very fast half mile. The internal fractions of this race, particularly that middle point, were sizzling. So her ability to kind of settle back off there and then find the room she needed really made the difference.
The 5.5 furlongs completed in 101.53. A great time, a courageous performance. This is one of the highlights early in the day here. This win by Glass Slippers, daughter of Dream Ahead out of the Mind Games mare Night Gypsy, was bred in Her Majesty's Kingdom, Great Britain, owned by Bearstone Stud Limited, trained perfectly by Kevin Ryan for this championship moment. Caton has an update on the wagering front.
Todd, this is in reference to a situation yesterday that was involving the pick 5 early on the card that concluded with race number 5. Now, originally, consolation payoffs were not posted, and some time was needed to be able to calculate and rectify the situation, but we have gotten a payoff confirmed on that pick 5. This is the consolation pick 5 that ended in race 5 yesterday, and the 50-cent payoff was $260.30. Now, any outlet that had winning tickets will be informed of how many winning tickets they had at their facility or through their outlet, and their accounts will be accredited with the appropriate amount. So if you had those pick 5 tickets, you will be getting a payoff on that consolation coming soon.
Caton, you have just delivered great news to our colleague Matt Carruthers, who has been absolutely torching money since yesterday, and his best hit was 4 of 5 in that early pick 5. So Matt Carruthers, if you can hear me in the grandstand, you have $267 coming your way. Matt, that will fuel you the rest of the card. They have posted the rest of the order of finish here: 6, 5, 7, 14, 12. Glass Slippers leads the way at 10-1 over the 5 Wet Your Whistle at 26-1. Leinster, your 4-1 post-time favorite, ends up 3rd, and then the 14 Extravagant Kid ended up there in 4th at 18-1. When we return here on the Breeders' Cup Players Show, we come back to the main track. It's the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
In the winner's circle for the 5th race, the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, number 6, Glass Slippers. Owned by the Bearstone Stud Limited of Terry Holdcroft, trained by Kevin Ryan, the jockey Tom Eves. Glass Slippers, a 4-year-old filly by Dream Ahead, out of Night Gypsy by Mind Games, the winner bred in Great Britain by Bearstone Stud Limited. Time for the 5.5 furlongs over the turf listed good, 1 minute 1.53 seconds.
Lafitte, it's a history-making moment as Glass Slippers becomes the first horse based in Europe to win the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. To make the presentation, I'm joined by Breeders' Cup Limited board member Alex Solis II, and Alex is going to present the trophy here to Terry and Margaret Holdcroft of the breeder owners, Bearstone Stud, with their co-owners here, Paul and Paula. Alex, please.
On behalf of the Breeders' Cup, I just want to say congratulations to Team Glass Slippers. We couldn't ask for a more beautiful day, exciting race, and an amazing ride by Tom. Congratulations.
As I said, this isn't just a triumph for owning a great racehorse, it's a triumph for years and decades of creating families. Terry, if you would, I'm sure it's an incredibly special moment for you if you could just come forward for us. Just explain how much it means to you to have bred this filly as well, and a little bit about the years that have gone into producing a result like this.
Well, we've been breeding racehorses for over 40 years, and obviously it's a great thrill to even be here, let alone win, and to get one that you've bred and raced. I mean, it just means everything to us. We're just absolutely over the moon with it, as you would expect.
And to share it with your wife, Margaret, and your friends here, Paul and Paula, do you have a message for those back at the stud, at Bearstone Stud in Shropshire, that are watching on?
Well, I'd like to thank them. They're all watching. I'd like to thank them for all their hard work over the years. Glass Slippers has lifted all their spirits this year and last season. So we're delighted to be here. And of course, this is... We came really because we haven't been able to go racing in England, so we wanted to take the opportunity to see a run here.
Lafitte, Terry Holcroft and Margaret. These are our fans as well as owner breeders, and they are here today to see their homebred filly take down the boys in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
They're at the post. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. There's Bombard in between horses into Mystic, now a step quicker. Leinster moves up in the opening strides. Wildman Jack on the outside. Into Mystic to the lead down toward the inside. Wildman Jack second, Texas Switch third. Leinster against the rail. His fourth, Bombard fifth. Got Stormy is in sixth. Just Might seventh. Imprimus eighth down toward the inside. Extravagant Kid a wide ninth. Glass Slippers 10th. Front Run the Fed 11th. Alexandra 12th up on the outside. Big Runner 13th. And Wet Your Whistle last of the 14 into the far turn. Into Mystic. Leading Wildman Jack. Texas Wedge stacks up to the far outside in third. A length and a half separate the top three. They've opened up by 4 lengths back to Leinster, who is fourth down toward the inside. Got Stormy fifth on the outside. Off the far turn. Wildman Jack ahead in front. Texas Wedge on the outside. Into Mystic is there. Down toward the inside. Glass Slippers is running late toward the rail in fourth and looking for running room. Leinster then got Stormy. Glass Slippers is coming through. Got Stormy on the outside. Late run from Extravagant Kid. Glass Slippers and Leinster 1-2 down to the line. Glass Slippers in front. Late charge for Wet Your Whistle. It is Glass Slippers to win the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint for Tom Eaves with a brilliant ride.
One moment, you're up in the sky. And the next, you're in a free fall, 10,000 feet above the ocean. You have 30 seconds between you and the water's surface. And it's these 30 seconds that define who you are. Because how we face the fall is what separates the pioneer spirit from the rest. This is your legacy.
You couldn't compose a better pedigree. A half-brother to Beholder. A half-brother to Into Mischief.
Into Mischief wins the Kef Call Futurity.
The most versatile performer from this brilliant family.
Mendelssohn's going to do it. Mendelssohn has won it by a length.
What a win by Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn by a conservative 17 lengths.
Scat Daddy's best-bred son at stud. Mendelssohn.
This is Karen's land. It's been here a long time, and so is she, along with Mojo. The first fence post went up here. Now there's 5,000 of them. After the storm, she started the cleanup here. This is more than just land. It's home. Karen runs with us on a John Deere 3E Series tractor, because who says a day's work has to take all day? Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 3E Series for more. John Deere is the official partner of the Breeders' Cup World Championship.
When a new wave calls, you answer. When adventure calls, you answer. When the surf calls, you paddle out. When sunsets call, you find the best view. When the sand in your toes calls, you put more sand between them. When the ocean calls, you wave hello. Because when happiness calls, you answer. San Diego Happiness is calling you back. Please travel responsibly.
It's not how we fly, but how we fall that separates the pioneer spirit from the rest. This is what's remembered, what remains, when all else has been stripped away.
Here with Lexington native and World Series champion Walker Buehler from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Walker, what has life been like now, just strolling around as a World Series champion and really just having a chance to reflect on the season you and your ball club had?
Yeah, I think, obviously a special thing that doesn't happen every year for us. So just trying to get home and come out here and enjoy this and kind of celebrate that way. So been a good week.
On the racing front, you are a Breeders' Cup ambassador. What is the Breeders' Cup event like in your eyes compared to other major sporting events in the country?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the culmination of the year, and obviously kind of the, World Championships is something that nobody can take lightly. And, knowing some people and what it means to them when they win these races it's a huge deal.
Coming up later today in the Breeders' Cup Classic, I know you have a small piece in Authentic with Bob Baffert. What is your trainer been telling you?
You know, he feels good about it. I told him to slow down the other two he's got, so we have a chance. But no, we're excited, man. It's been a really fun deal. You know, however small piece we got a little bit, and we've really enjoyed it.
When you're on the mound, you can control your nerves. When you're with a horse race, this is out of your control. How do those nerves differ for you?
You know, that's why horse racing is what it is, man. You got no control over it, right? So they get in there and go, and hopefully we come out on top. But no, we're just going to enjoy it either way.
Well, congratulations on the World Series win. Good luck with Authentic in the Classic, and have a great Breeders' Cup.
Absolutely. Thank you, my man.
The Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile will test the strategic skills of the jockeys with a short run to the first turn. Liam's Map encountered trouble here at Keeneland in 2015, but was still able to prevail. With a similar configuration of the race at Santa Anita last year, Spun to Run seized the lead at the start and never looked back at odds of 9-1. Battle of Midway won the mile in 2017, which meant 2 of the past 3 winners were 3 years old. This is the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
And the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile is just 19 minutes to post. Tell everyone welcome back to the Players Show, as we've got very interesting race coming up. A favorite right now at odds of 5-2 in the form of Nix Go. Sensational form in his last 2 starts since transferring to the Brad Cox barn. Brad Cox has had a lot to say about the 2020 Breeders' Cup World Championships yesterday, and it continues on today. But names you know: War of Will, the Preakness winner from a year ago, drawn just to his inside. Complexity, the morning line favorite at 2-1, all the way up at 6-1 for Chad Brown, the horse coming off of a nice victory in a 1-turn mile in the Kelso. You've got plenty of time to get your wagers in, but this proves to be one of the tougher handicapping puzzles on the day. Right now, for more on Big Ass Fans, we go to Scott Hazelton.
Here with Lenny Rhodes, the CEO of Big Ass Fans, one of the Breeders' Cup partners that is located just 5 minutes away from the racetrack here in Lexington, Kentucky. And this is obviously a much different field than your first year being a partner with the Breeders' Cup and last year. How have you been able to adjust and provide for the industry under the circumstances that we're in?
That's a great question. So now more than ever, we really want to show our support for the thoroughbred industry. So one of the things we've done, we've come up with some technology called our clean air system that not only kills coronavirus, but also cold, flu, influenza, and even some of the horse viruses. And so we've got the clean air system installed here at Keeneland to help keep the patrons safe.
And how about ventilation? With so much, discussion with what we're going on with coronavirus, how have you been able to help in the air ventilation realm of this industry?
Yeah, that's great. So this industry's understood the need for ventilation for a long time. We need to eliminate mold, keep airflow going, keep both the humans and the animals comfortable. We've got purpose-built products. So many of the farms, many of the tracks around the country have our products in there. They last a long time. They're safe. They don't pose the fire hazard that some of these inexpensive box fans that people are tripping all over cords with.
You own a piece of a horse. You're obviously sponsoring the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile, your race. Who wins the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile?
Well, we cover it up a little bit just to hedge our bets. But I think my wife likes Nix Go, so we'll probably put a little extra money there. Art Collector, it's a great race. Last year, Spun to Run surprised a lot of people, so we'll see what happens this year. We can't wait.
We appreciate your commitment to the Breeders' Cup and the industry, and best of luck with the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile.
Great. Thank you very much.
Here comes looking at Lucky. Edgeton's in there. Zenyatta now hooking to the grandstand side, and Zenyatta is now coming with her run. Looking at Lucky. Blame on the inside. Blame gets the lead. Zenyatta on the outside. Looking at Lucky. Blame. Zenyatta is flying. Blame trying to hold on. Blame and Zenyatta. Blame has won it ahead.
The only defeat of the great Zenyatta's career in her final starts in the Breeders' Cup Classic. She lost to Blame, a fantastic animal in his own right, who stands at Claiborne Farm. And who else stands at Claiborne Farm? Warfront, one of the most successful and sought-after stallions in this sport. And he's represented here in the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile with War of Will for Mark Cassian. War of Will has had a different campaign at age 4 than he had at age 3. At age 3 in all the classics, he ran in the Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont, winning the second jewel of the Triple Crown. And then they tried him on the turf for his last 3 starts, as I bring Simon Bray and Caton Bradar into the mix. And Simon, I'll start with you because you are the Lord of the Lawn. War of Will is a Grade 1 winner on the turf, but they're going back to the main track today. Why do you think that decision?
Well, I just don't think they thought he was up to the level of competition to compete in, say, the Breeders' Cup Mile here. He's a good turf horse. He's a Grade 1 winner, but I'm not sure how strong his form was, although he did beat Raging Bull in the Maker's Mark Mile, who will be competing later. I just think they think they kind of regroup here. He's proven that he's a classic winner, winning the Preakness last year, and I think this is a good place, a good spot to come back to, Mike. I think he would have been overmatched in the Classic. So maybe the mile here, he hasn't been on the dirt since almost over a year ago in the Breeders' Cup Classic. So be interesting to see how he shapes up. He's a very good-looking horse, and he makes a strong appearance in the paddock there.
Yeah, when he runs his race, it is competitive at the highest levels, without a doubt, as we saw. Grade 1 victories on both the dirt and the turf. An update for the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, the most prestigious cash tournament in the world. You can see the leaderboard. There is the top 5. Our current leader, Matthew Kwiatkowski, $7,900 win bet on Amp Pearl to win by yesterday, and then followed that up in the juvenile with a $25,000 win bet on Essential Quality. You see Jason Lane climbing the leaderboard, $5,000 straight try in the filly and mare sprint that he cashed, and that is how we stand after 5 races on day 2 in the BCBC. If you're playing in the BCBC, you probably want to know the opinion of Caton Bradar before we get to the post-break here in the Dirt Mile. What are you looking for, Caton, for contenders in the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile here?
Well, I mean, I think most of the horses that are in this field have kind of checked a lot of boxes just to get to this point. But the problem is one of pace here, because Nick's Go is a very, very fast horse. Currently the favorite at 5-2, and deservedly so. He romped in Allowance Company against substantially easier horses. Loves Keeneland, and in the middle of the field has a great position, has a very high cruising speed, and might be the fastest speed horse in this race. There are others who have a little bit of speed, but if they leave him alone on the front end, he is going to be very, very tough to reel in. That said, Art Collector draws the rail at 3-1. He has tactical speed as well, Mike, and maybe his connections are going to feel that they have to use him a little to get into the mix. So this is going to be very interesting to see how it unfolds early, and I'm actually predicting there may be a little bit of chaos that could set up for that outsider or outlier.
Well, Complexity is the 2-1 morning line favorite. A little chilly on the top board right now at 5-1 for Clarovich Stables. He is representing the Eclipse Award-winning trainer Chad Brown, who's standing by right now with Gabby Gaudet.
Well, Chad, there's been a lot of talk about Complexity and how good he is at one turn. How do you think he's going to navigate the 2-turn distance today, though?
Yeah, especially the way the track's playing. Hopefully it'll be kind to him. You know, he's a lot bigger, stronger horse than he was at age 2 when he tried it. And he seems to be training quite well. And you know, given the 2 options from running on the sprint versus this, it's really a no-brainer for me. I think the sprint will be a little bit too quick for him, and I'm happy we made this decision.
How do you think the race is going to play out? I mean, he has speed in an outside post. Where would you want to see him going into the first turn?
Yeah, just right up there, very close, you know, very close to the lead. And, you know, I'd like to see this horse stay clean the whole way.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby, as it is time now for our 3 Chimneys cheers to the breeders. And once again, it all begins with the breeding. Stone Street Thoroughbred Holdings, LLC, well represented here with 3 starters in Pirates Punch, Complexity, and Owendale, the Don Alberto Corporation with Silver Dust. Right now, let's check in once again with our reporter, Joaquin Jaime.
Trainer Mark Glatt with 2 Breeders' Cup runners today, starting first with Sharp Samurai in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Mark, why the main track today on the dirt versus the race on the grass?
We just thought that the race came up a little better for him. He seems to be equally as good on turf or dirt at this stage of his career, and felt like that there was some question as to whether he would handle the softer or the Keeneland turf course here when he's used to the real firm courses we have out in California. So we just felt like it was the best spot for him given the 2 races.
In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, you have Collusion Illusion, the first time that he has traveled outside of California. How has he settled in for you?
Extremely well. I've been very pleased with both horses and how they shipped and how they came in here. They both have trained well over the track, and we're just hoping that they smoke early on, and you know, which will help his closing kick, and so we need a fast pace.
Illusion has this 34 and change work on the page. Is that every indication to you that he is on edge and ready to go?
Yeah, really since his last race, all four workouts have been extremely good, pretty much in hand, and that breeze the other day was about as slow as he could have gone. So we wanted to sharpen him up a little bit because I think he is going to have to be rather close given how the track's playing, but we still want to see a hot pace and hopefully a good trip from the inside post.
Thank you, Mark. Good luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
You can hear they've given the call to the post for the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and they are making their way onto the track. We will have a post parade for you. This is the start of the middle pick 4 if you want to take a crack at it. Of course, the pick 6 starts in race number 7. But right now, you can get involved in doubles, pick 3s, so on and so forth. They're going a mile. It's 2 turns here on the main track at Keeneland Racecourse. $1 million on the line, and as always, grade 1 status, but so much more on the line here in the Breeders' Cup World Championships. You're going to be led onto the track by a very talented 3-year-old and art collector. He was the wise guy horse going into the Preakness, and many thought he had a fantastic chance of upsetting Derby winner Authentic. It was not to be, and now Tommy Drury bringing this horse back to a mile distance, and Caton Sharp Samurai getting bet 7-1.
Sharp Samurai actually broke his maiden on the dirt, his only dirt win, which was in maiden claiming competition, but he's come a long way. Back-to-back second-place finishes in graded stakes company on both surfaces. Silver Dust, one of 2 runners in here for Brett Calhoun, has 2 seconds at Keeneland, both in allowance company, most recently 3rd behind By My Standards in Owendale after a bit of a troubled trip, Mike. And War of Will's connections have told me that they believe he's a better horse on the grass. And if that's true, then he's poised to upset in here.
Nixco has had a sensational turnaround of form. Remember, this horse was very accomplished at age 2 and a grade 1 winner, but had fallen off form at the end of 2019. 2020, a different story. 2 wins by a combined 18 lengths. Joel Rosario up. Mr. Money coming onto screen here for Brett Calhoun. That was a nice win in the ACAC last time out, Caton, going a 1-turn mile at Churchill.
And he's been training very, very well in the morning. Be interesting to see where he sits coming off of that race. He was close to the pace with the 1-turn mile. I think he'll sit a very nice stalking trip. Rushy is breathing fire on the track. The 3-year-old colt won the Pat Day Mile in his most recent start, so this will be his first back in a while. And now Pirate's Punch, like Rushy, I think actually could contribute to the early pace. He can be very fast on the day, is moving up in company, but off 2 consecutive wins. And here's another one that I think could add to the chaos up front. Mr. Freeze most recently coming from off the pace, Mike, but he does have some speed if the connections choose to use it.
There's complexity, and he's been a model of consistency with the grade 2 score in the Kelso. He was second in the 4-go, 2 back, and then 3 back at Belmont in a 1-turn mile. He was very good. We'll see how he handles it. You heard the interview with Gabby Gaudet. Jesus' team for Jose D'Angelo out of the Preakness was 3rd that day. He's taken on some top-notch company in this 3-year-old crop. And then Caton Owendale rounds out the post parade at 11-1, another runner from the Brad Cox barn.
Now, Owendale has the worst of it as far as post positions are concerned, along with the 11 and the 10. It is a short run into the first turn, and position is everything in a race like this. But that said, Owendale's style is to come from off the pace and exiting the Pimlico Special at 1 mile and 3/16. He's going to be the horse that's running late, so maybe the post doesn't hinder him as much as it might be an obstacle for the 11 or especially for the 10 complexity with his early speed.
We're only 7 minutes away here from the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Scott?
Mike Trainer, Brad Cox is 7 for the last 16, 44% with a $2.30 ROI, with older last out winners making their second start following a 180-day layoff or greater in dirt routes. Grade 1 winner Nix Go, the number 5 horse, has won his last 2 starts by a combined 17 3/4 lengths. Make sure you take advantage of the most powerful past performances in racing, available at drf.com right now.
Scott, thanks so much. As I want to bring the conversation now back to Simon Bray. Simon, you've had a chance to see him in the post parade and come onto the track. They all seem to be warming up well. Where is your eye leading you here in the dirt mile?
Well, you know, before this afternoon and all this week, you know, I was pretty open-minded about this race. I had a pretty wide open mind about where I was going to go. Ultimately, though, as we got closer, I thought Sharp Samurai had a big chance. That was the horse I liked, 15-1 on the morning line. He's getting a lot of attention, Mike. He's down to 7-1. That's about as low as a price I would be willing to accept on Sharp Samurai. He only has one win on the dirt because he's only had 4 starts. But I liked his effort in the TVG Pacific Classic. I thought he ran a very credible second behind Maxim Security in a race that was probably too far for him. I think Mark Glatt, you heard in the interview, made the right decision here, coming here on the dirt over going to the turf race. And his last 2 workouts on the main track have just looked spectacular. He's a very smart and very flashy workhorse, and I think he's going to get a perfect trip. I think he gets a nice stalking trip there and could upset here at 7-1.
And for those of you watching the Players Show here, regardless of where you're seeing the outlet, you can download the FanDuel Racing app or the TVG Racing app on your Android or iPhone devices. You can bet racing from home, see why Thoroughbred Racing is the best wager in all of gambling, and play the FanDuel Mile Contest as well on the FanDuel Racing app. It's a mile on the main track. It's all about the trip you can get, and that trip begins with the post position. For more on where these horses will be starting from, let's check in with Gabby Gaudet.
Mike, thank you. And Caton was alluding to the post positions here and how complicated it can be with horses with an outside draw. I did my homework and I went back and I looked at the statistics for all of the post positions in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. The one Art Collector, or the rail draw, I should say, 10 winners in the past. The winningest post position is actually number 3. Silver Dust will break from there with 13 winners from post position 3. It really starts to go down from there. In fact, Mike, when you go to that number 9, Mr. Freeze, there's only been 1 winner from post 9 at the 2-turn mile here at Keeneland, and then post 10, 11, and 12, there have been no winners from those 3 outside post positions, and I think that's something you really have to pay attention to with regard to the 10 complexity. Whereas your favorite, the 5, Knicks Go, there has been 8 winners from post position number 5. So it really just it really emphasizes how tough it is to work out a trip from those 3 outside draws.
And Caton, with that being said, as they go into the gate, you know how important it was to have a good draw. So how is this race going to unfold? Where does the pace come from as they jockey for position going into that first turn?
Well, Knicks Go is the starter of the conversation for sure. I mean, he is going to go from that position. That's where he does his best running. He's right on the front end. He's very quick naturally. The question is what happens to Art Collector, how much Brian Hernandez Jr. is able to get him off the break to get into the race. And then coming out of those longer distance races makes it that much tougher. But Art Collector is fast enough, I think, to be able to sit at least close, if not right with Knicks Go. Pirate's Punch, who will be to the outside, is also another one who I think, if he breaks smoothly, could maneuver over and join the fray early on. So I see those 3 perhaps in the mix. And then Complexity is going to have to work awfully hard if he wants to be able to get some sort of position. The other horse that's kind of the mystery horse to me is the 7, Rushy. And based on everything I saw in terms of body language, I'm expecting Rushy to show speed. He's fresh, he's sharp. If you look to his earlier races this year, when he broke his maiden, he was right on the front going a mile at Santa Anita. He was close up in his earlier races than he has been of late. Sometimes as horses mature, they settle a bit more, and especially against tougher company, and that style has served Rushy well. But if the connections feel that given the details that surround this race and all the complexities of it, that they really need to be forwardly placed, then I think Rushy probably could be in that mix as well. And that's why I think this is the type of race that's kind of ripe for chaos. Knicks Go is the fastest horse of the speed horses. It could be an open and shut case for the favorite, but I kind of think something unusual could happen in this situation. If that's the case, Owendale will be running late, does have to overcome that outside post position, but if you look to his races against horses like Silver Dust, he has been very, very effective in the 1-turn mile situation, but he's also run some big races against top company in 2-turn longer distance situations. So perhaps the 2-turn mile will be the sweet spot. Brad Cox waited a while to make the final decision whether or not to run Owendale in this, having already the favorite in Knicks Go, and opted to go for it given the amount of speed that stacked up here. So I think Owendale has to be respected a little at 11-1.
It's the beauty of Breeders' Cup Day. You saw $1 million right now in the pick 4 pool and climbing. You have a pick 6 carryover in excess of $250,000. And Simon, you have races like this where there are grade 1 winners, sharp horses that are going to go off at enormous odds. Some prices here, if that chaos Caton was talking about does ensue, where could we find a bit of an upset as they go into the gate?
Yeah, I still think Sharp Samurai's maybe the slight upset. But look, he's getting hammered now, Mike, down at 5-1 there. So that horse is taking a lot of play. Maybe War of Will rebounds at 9-1. That's a great price. We could look back afterwards, Mike, and say you get the Preakness winner in the Dirt Mile at 9-1. That would be huge.
As they have begun the loading process here for race number 6 on Breeders' Cup Saturday, it is the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile. And as they go into the gate, your favorite at odds of 2-1, not surprisingly, is Knicks Go for Brad Cox, as this colt has found new form in his 4-year-old campaign, trying to go a perfect 3 for 3 in 2020. For the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile call, we go to Kurt Becker.
Last one moves into the line. First wire at the post. They're off in the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. There goes Knicks Go out for the lead. Sharp Samurai and Art Collector there to the inside. And there goes Complexity from the outside. Complexity moves up to the outside of Knicks Go. Knicks Go gets to the rail, though, has the lead by a length. Midway on the first turn. Complexity goes second, a length and a half. Art Collector third by a head. Pirate's Punch is in fourth around the first turn. Mr. Freeze outward from the rail in fifth by a head. Sharp Samurai is sixth. Jesus' team is in seventh. Rushy is eighth. Mr. Money ninth on the outside. War of Will 10th up the backstretch. Silver Dust 11th. And Owendale last of the 12. Opening quarter went in 21.98 seconds. Knicks Go against the rail leads it only a neck. Complexity second on the outside. Then a gap of 3.5 lengths back to Art Collector in third by 3/4 of a length. And there goes Sharp Samurai to his inside, now taking fourth. Pirate's Punch in fifth. Then Mr. Freeze, Jesus' team. War of Will still 10 lengths off the lead. Opening half mile went in 44.4. Midway on the far turn, Knicks Go is the leader 3/4 of a length. Complexity goes second by 2. Sharp Samurai tries to move into contention, but still third. Gap of 3, Mr. Freeze. This is between horses in fourth. They're past the quarter pole to the top of the short stretch. Knicks Go leading Complexity by a length and a half. Mr. Freeze trying to pick up more spots, has to swing to the outside, though, of Sharp Samurai into the final furlong. And then Jesus' team. Knicks Go with the lead. Knicks Go by 4. Jesus' team runs late down toward the inside of Complexity. And then Sharp Samurai on the outside, but it's Knicks Go. Knicks Go, front-running victory for Joel Rosario and Knicks Go in the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. 1 minute 33.85 seconds track record.
It was virtually a track record at every point of call. Knicks Go with a sensational performance in the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Caton, what did we just witness?
Knicks Go is fast. He goes from the start, and Joel Rosario was able to capitalize on that. But make no mistake, he sizzled through fractions early on and then kept on going. But by the top of the stretch, the race was over. Everyone chasing throughout. I thought perhaps midpoint of the race, you might see some signs of him giving in. But no, Knicks Go just went all the way, every step of the way through a track record performance and a Breeders' Cup victory.
Simon, the mark of a great horse is they make good horses look cheap, and he just ran them off their feet today.
He certainly did. I mean, obviously the track is very fast. We're breaking track records here left, right, and center, so that has to be put into context. But visually watching Knicks Go, what a different animal he is now in the barn at Brad Cox, and the tremendous weekend for him is just continuing, and he's still got some real big chances left, of course, in the distaff with Monomoy Girl. But Knicks Go, just a new animal here at the age of 4, undefeated in 3 starts, has found a new running style. Go to the front, just keep on going. No one can go with him. I tell you what, I thought Sharp Samurai ran a good race in defeat, Mike. A little unlucky in the early stages, got checked hard coming out of that first turn, lost a little bit of ground. Would never have beat the winner, but might have been a little closer.
Well, they didn't change a whole lot of positions. They were 1-2 around the racetrack, and they made a nice fight of things early, but it just never looked like Nick's Go was breathing hard as fast as he went. You saw Jesus' team get the second place money at the 11 horse, so 5, 11, 2, 10, and 12. And I know that those underneath horses will make a big difference in the BCBC. But this was as formful of an outcome as we could have expected here, Caton. Nick's Go, we knew going in he was special. I guess the only question really was, could he keep that tear going? And boy, did he ever.
You know, part of the key to victory is his high cruising speed and his ability to get into the race right off the bat. And the question was, could he do it against this level of competition? Would someone be able to hang with him? I will say Complexity was able to get away pretty nicely, but he did have to work from that outside post position. So positioning helping contribute just a little bit, but to go that fast at this level of competition and keep on going after such a performance last time out is really significant, and certainly a significant accomplishment for the Brad Cox barn with now their third Breeders' Cup victory this weekend.
Simon, you mentioned the track being fast. Earlier in the day when we saw Nashville set the track record, that was at 10:15 in the morning, and this track does tend to be a little bit tighter in the morning. But the day, it seems like it hasn't gotten any slower as it has gone on, and usually we see the track start to get a little more normal as we get later in the afternoon. But Nick's Go just set another track record here at a mile.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, we've got better horses as the day goes on. These are the elite horses in our game. But I think, it's not too hot. I mean, the weather is good there. And, they've got a lot of activity of it. There's plenty of races coming up, more races left. So I think the track is going to get maybe even a little faster, or at least stay the same as the day goes on here. And that's what you have to put in context. We're all jumping up and down. I understand Nashville was very impressive in race number 1, but I had a feeling sometimes on these big days we see these fast tracks, and as the day's gone on, that's prevailed. But some visually very impressive performances, and this was one of them.
So Nick's Go going back to the winner's circle. It's been a big weekend thus far for Brad Cox, and he's far from done as he has Arklow coming up in the turf as well. We'll have more live racing here on Breeders' Cup Saturday. So Nick's Go with a victory here in the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile. Think you can predict the FanDuel mile order finish? Pick the perfect final order for free. Your shot at $1 million. Head to breederscup.com/FanDuel right now and play. So we've had a formful day here on Breeders' Cup Saturday. We've seen a few short prices, one large price, but we still have plenty to go. The Pick 6 coming up with $260,000 plus in the carryover from yesterday.
In the winner's circle for race 6, the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. 5, Knicks Go. Owned by Korea Racing Authority of Jin Woo Lee, trained by Brad Cox. 2 wins today for Joel Rosario. Knicks Go, a 4-year-old son of Painter, out of Cosmos Buddy by Outflanker. The winner bred in Maryland by Angie Moore. 1 mile over the fast main track, 1 minute 33.85 seconds track record.
What a performance. Surely one we'll never forget. Congratulations to all the connections of Knicks Go, who stays undefeated in 2020. And for the presentation, Lenny Rhodes, the CEO of Big Fans.
Thank you very much. So I'm on film yesterday picking Knicks Go. So we never had an idea that it would be a track record breaking performance on the behalf of the entire team at Big Ass Fans. Congratulations. What a race.
June Park with Korea Racing Authority, a big congratulations to you. June, there was talk of retiring this horse prior to these races, prior to 2020. It's been a while since he's visited the winner's circle. How challenging was that decision to bring him back?
Well, after watching the impressive wins like this, we have to consider to race him again. But we have to discuss further with the owner and trainers.
So, not retired yet. I'm sure Brad Cox will be happy to hear that. He's a part of a long-term plan, though, to improve the breeding and racing in Korea. What does a victory on this stage mean for Korea Racing Authority?
Well, it's a part of a genomic selection system, and then we use that system with the K-Nix team at the KRA when we purchased the Knicks Go at the yearling sale. That gave us a good opportunity to become the elite racehorse, and then I'm glad he proved himself today.
Adding a Breeders' Cup win to that tally there. A big congratulations to you, Brad. Would you like to see him back on the track again? No retirement, right?
I'd be good with that.
You'd be very good with that. Congratulations, already having a sensational day. It is Knicks Go in the Big Fans Dirt Mile.
Last one moves into the line. First wire at the post. They're off. in the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. There goes Nick's Go out for the lead. Sharp Samurai and Art Collector there to the inside, and there goes Complexity from the outside. Complexity moves up to the outside of Nick's Go. Nick's Go gets to the rail, though, has the lead by a length. Midway on the first turn. Complexity goes second, a length and a half. Art Collector third by a head. Pirate's Punch is in fourth around the first turn. Mr. Freeze outward from the rail in fifth by a head. Sharp Samurai is sixth. Jesus's team is in seventh. Rushy is eighth. Mr. Money ninth on the outside. War of Will 10th up the backstretch. Silver Dust 11th. And Owendale last of the 12. Opening quarter went in 21.98 seconds. Nick's Go against the rail leads it only a neck. Complexity second on the outside. Then a gap of 3.5 lengths back to Art Collector in third by 3/4 of a length. And there goes Sharp Samurai to his inside, now taking fourth. Pirate's Punch in fifth. Then Mr. Freeze, Jesus's team. War of Will still 10 lengths off the lead. Opening half mile went in 44.4. Midway on the far turn, Nick's Go is the leader, 3/4 of a length. Complexity goes second by 2. Sharp Samurai tries to move into contention, but still third. Gap of 3, Mr. Freeze. This is between horses in fourth. They're past the quarter pole to the top of the short stretch. Nick's Go leading Complexity by a length and a half. Mr. Freeze trying to pick up more spots, has to swing to the outside, though, of Sharp Samurai into the final furlong, and then Jesus's team. Nick's Go with the lead. Nick's Go by 4. Jesus's team runs late down toward the inside of Complexity, and then Sharp Samurai on the outside, but it's Nick's Go. Nick's Go, front-running victory for Joel Rosario and Nick's Go in the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. 1 minute 33.85 seconds track record.
This is a Kentucky Thoroughbred. This is a Kentucky-built Powerfoil industrial fan. Like a Thoroughbred, it too delivers unrivaled performance. And while they both run with purpose and pride, this one runs to keep your workforce feeling cool and comfortable. Powerfoil, the best-selling big fan in the world. Big Ass Fans, exceptionally engineered.
As a 2-year-old, he was just phenomenal. I think that 2-year-old form is so important, especially when they can take it to that championship level. And Game Winner, he brought it to that championship level. The Rebel Stakes, he still ran the most impressive race, just getting beat in the nose by Omaha Beach. Candy Ride was a brilliant racehorse. He showed brilliance, and he throws brilliance. And Game Winner, you know, the minute he showed that brilliance, I knew right there we had something really special.
Hey, neighbor, we got to talk.
Well, Jay? No, he only comes to Bugle on race days.
Race days?
With the TVG app, every day is race day. You can place bets right in your phone, even stream live races.
Upcoming race at the Breeders' Cup?
I can have a day at the track whenever I want, right at home.
Coming through, guys.
Go get him, Mike.
Mike Smith?
Yeah, Mike Smith.
There's a new home of horse racing, yours. Get a 50% bonus on your first deposit up to $250.
Nobody goes, 70, 50, 75, 850, 75, 175, 175, 150, 175. Sprout, 850,000. Thank you.
Volatile, just like that. In front by 3, now by 4. And the time, 107.57.
As they pass the 16th pole, Volatile, victorious in the Vanderbilt. 1 by 2 lengths.
Sprout, 850,000. Thank you.
One moment, you're up in the sky. And the next, you're in a free fall, 10,000 feet above the ocean. You have 30 seconds between you and the water's surface. And it's these 30 seconds that define who you are. Because how we face the fall is what separates the pioneer spirit from the rest. This is your legacy.
The Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf produced one of the biggest upsets on last year's card. A 3-year-old, Iridessa, used a late burst to get the money at 13-1 as Sister Charlie ran third in her bid for a repeat win. Sister Charlie used a similar kind of stretch rally in 2018 to give trainer Chad Brown a 4th win in this race. When Keeneland last hosted the Breeders' Cup, locally owned Stephanie's Kitten prevailed at age 6. This is the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf.
The Players Show continues with the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, and it starts our $1 million Pick 6. What a way in style to kick things off. So get ready if you're playing the Pick 6 in here. I'm your host for this race, Acacia Courtney. We heard about Chad Brown's success in this race, as he does have 4 chances in here. Currently Rushing Fall, the morning line favorite, your current favorite, holding tough up there at 5-2. But also a unique scenario in here with a pair of sisters in Sister Charlie and my sister Nat, hailing from an incredible family that also includes this year's Le Prix d'Arc de Triomphe winner Sass. This is a rare case, but not a unique one, as there have actually been 5 pairs of full or half siblings to run in the Breeders' Cup. Here's a look at the odds for the entire field, a field of 14 currently, with Rushing Fall, your favorite, just where she is on the morning line at 5-2. Is welcome in Matt Carruthers. Matt, happy to be on with you once again today. Rushing Fall, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies a couple years back, trying to add another Breeders' Cup win to our resume.
Yeah, likewise. Nice to be working with you as well. When Iridessa won this race at San Diego last year, it made Joseph O'Brien the youngest trainer ever to win any Breeders' Cup race. So it was a historical win for Iridessa last year, and he became the second, I think, trainer to win as a jockey and a trainer to go along with Freddie Head. He obviously rode St. Nicholas Abbey to Joseph O'Brien. But yeah, you begin with Rushing Fall. She's 11 for 14. She's been second on 2 occasions. She's made over $2.5 million. She loves this turf course at Keeneland. She really does. 6 starts, 5 wins. She's fast, but she's tactical. Her win in the Diana, that was one of the more exciting races I think that we've had thus far in 2020, with Mean Mary, who's the 4-horse in this race for Graham Ocean, carving out those fractions. Rushing Fall looking to get by, Mean Mary digging in, and it was a photo that went to Rushing Fall to win by a neck. So loves this course, tactical, doesn't need the lead. But I think a couple of other Chad Browns have a big chance. I think Sister Charlie gets much more pace than she's had in the last couple of starts, which makes the number 2 very dangerous.
She could rebound today as Sister Charlie, winner of this race back in 2018 at Churchill Downs, 3rd here last year, trying to rebound and get her first win of 2020, as we head to Gabby Gaudet with a special guest.
Acacia, thank you. And here with Rushing Falls owner Bob Edwards. And my first question is, how are you feeling today? How are the nerves?
We were this morning getting ready, and I was shaking so bad early on that I couldn't tie my bow tie. And I've done it 100 times, but I couldn't get it together. It took me like 25 tries. I had to go to YouTube, settle a little bit, kind of relax. And, you know, we're kind of really highly amped right now.
How are the hands right now?
A little jumpy. And I actually only had a half a cup of coffee to kind of settle it, but it still didn't work.
Let's talk about the ride that she has taken you on, Bob.
She's a phenomenal horse. I mean, she's a gifted athlete. And a friend John bred just this phenomenal mare, and we've had just a great